What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's everyone doing? So we've got some patch notes just dropped about an hour ago, and this is from Luxandra. This is everything that they're going to do or that they've fixed and added for the PTR so far. This could change, but this is everything as of right now. So let's get right into it. It's kind of long, so please. Holy crap. Screw it, let's go. Please note that this list is not all-encompassing and is intended as an early look into a number of changes included within the most recent PTR build. This change list will be regularly updated up through the release of the game version. So here we go. World experience. Notable fixes. Expeditions. Fixed an issue where Taxodius, mini-boss, oh, I remember that guy. He's a guy in Genesis, can be exploited to be killed and looted twice in a single instance. Guys, why didn't we see that one? Mercury. Dom. Freaking low main. Jack. What the heck? We never did that. Why didn't you guys tell me about that? Hey, he never dropped anything good anyway, right? That guy's a pushover. What they should have done is increase the damage or something. I don't know. Address missing collision, allowing players to get into out of the playable space in the depths. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. Addressed missing collision allows players to get into out of the playable space in the depths. Okay. Fix an issue in Starstone Barrows with the Ancient Guardians animation intro. Fix an issue where player has the option to join ongoing expedition from another expedition entrance. World. Fix issue where players could build camps off of each other to reach high locations using environmental features. I actually seen a picture of that on the on Reddit. It was pretty funny. They made that thing so high. GG guys, you crazy guys. Can't curse in this. Fix an issue where ancient AI are too numerous and difficult for solo players at Celio, Secco, and Reekwater. Removed extra tendrils in Shah Makogai and Sunken Aspect POIs, as well as toning down enemy count in Sunken Aspect for solo play. POI is points of interest, in case anybody doesn't know. Fix an issue where players can climb over a wall to enter Siren Queen Arena. Adjusted loot chests for at Adamant Mine and Monarch's Bluffs to increase challenge. Fixed issue where players pop up and down when interacting with a giant elite POI or Calcum Veins. Okay, yeah, that was kind of funny over there by, that one place. Added more lights in Lower Slag Mine. Somebody's got they don't have an editor. I just got my YouTube channel. Even I have an editor, guys. Come on. Added more lights in Lower Slag Mine. Fixed issue with a pile of floating stones found in Alafri Purgo POI. Fixed issue with half of a large rock is missing in Murkguard. I'm glad you guys fixed the important stuff. Various fixes to floating assets and bad collision across the world. Fix an issue where the player's face may look visually incorrect while on low graphic settings. Thank goodness for that. General AI. Introduce a new player versus AI physics collider solution that will significantly reduce the amount of pushback from colliding with characters. This update applies to bipedal and simple-shaped creatures, withered, ancient, guardians, corrupted, lost pirates, brutes, tendrils, etc. Future updates will look to improve collision versus quadruped. Looks like quadruped, but it's quadruped. And long creatures. Cats, elk, wolves, alligators, and etc. That is one of the coolest things I've ever read. Long creatures. Folks, I'm crazy. You're just going to have to get used to it. I'm really freaking weird. Improved AI target evaluation algorithm to fix some instances of AI attacking locations the player has long since moved away from. Reduce pushback on block from most creatures' attacks to 0. So that's cool. You can't get knocked off the ledge as easy anymore. Corrupted Ogre. Fix an issue causing the ball spell's damage area to not properly match its visuals. Dryad Soldier. Fix an issue that could cause the soldier to repeatedly spam his empower ability if shot from more than 30 meters away or when the player was unreachable. Elemental Bears. Reduce the rate at which elemental bears regenerate stamina. Swamp Dryad Soldier. Fix an issue causing the Swamp Dryad Soldier's downward slam to sometimes spawn a damaging area of effect. The damaging area of effect has been removed. Swamp Dryad Beast. Fix an issue with the pull ability that would cause players to be pulled higher in the air based on their distance from the beast. Undead Navigator. The Undead Navigator's self buff will now properly show up as a status effect on the character's nameplate. Siren Arena Boss. Fix an issue preventing the Siren from attacking players at the edge of the arena. Big Cats. The Big Cats. Updated knockdown animations to be more distinct from standard reactions. Thank you. We had no idea when to freaking dodge, you know? They're so shisty. Expedition AI, Garden of Genesis, Blighted Greenskeeper. Increase the size of the Blighted Greenskeeper headshot hit volume. Genesis shot. Hey, what about all the freaking green poison on the ground and the whole entire dungeon being green? Like, anyway, maybe this is the next one they're talking. Maybe that's what they're talking about here. Angry Earth Naga, improved visibility on attack VFX. Lazarus Instrumentality, Chartis, increase length of Chartis' stun phase by 5 seconds. Increase the time before the final laser during phase 3 from 75 seconds after phase start to 90 seconds after phase start. Reduce the downtime between lasers during phase 1 and 2 from 60 seconds to 30 seconds. Increase damage of the base laser during phases 1 and 2. Increase Chartis' damage by 25% across the board. Oh, so he's no longer a pushover. Increase Chartis' laser damage by an additional 15%. Rework Chartis' final laser to now deal 15% of health as damage per second. Healers, you better check yourselves. Fix issues with the swipe animations causing safe spots on the back walls. Yep. Fix an issue causing Chartis to not take bonus damage from ancient-related perks and coatings. Fix an issue causing Chartis to not have proper strengths and weaknesses against certain damage types. Fixed an issue that could cause Chartis' laser to persist after his death. That was actually cool. And increase the size of Chartis' headshot hit volume. So easier to get headshots. Mutators, reduce desiccated timer from 60 seconds to 45. Normalize curse damage to ensure that curses are always a threat to players of any size health pool. Censored damage normalized to 65% base health, and desiccated damage normalized to 50% base health. So combat, some pretty cool changes here, definitely. So weapon swapping, big one. You can now swap weapons during hit reactions, dodges, traversal, and while using consumables, except weapon coatings. This will not interrupt those actions. There's a 1-second swap cooldown in these cases. Weapon swap buffers will no longer be canceled if you are staggered before the swap can occur. Weapon swaps and attacks can now be queued simultaneously. This is really cool. So example, if you press swap during an attack's recovery, like let's say you have a great axe, you're doing a heavy attack, and you immediately want to switch to the light staff and cast Sacred Ground. So you can do that. And when you press the weapon swap and then press the Sacred Ground hotkey, mine's F, while you're finishing your attack animation, it's going to automatically switch weapons, and it's automatically going to cast that for you immediately. So if you press swap during an attack's recovery, then immediately press an ability key, the weapon will swap at the first swap cancel frame, then immediately perform the desired ability. Note that actions still have buffer and cancel windows. This change just makes them easier to use and more reliable. So that's really, really cool. I really like that. Can't wait to try that out tomorrow. Dodging and blocking. We have shortened the recovery time for all of our dodges. Transitioning to movement after a dodge should feel more fluid for all players now. Basic attack startups. Melee and range can now be dodge and block canceled up to 2 frames before the first active frame. For melee attacks, the first active frame is the first frame the weapon can deal damage. And for range attacks, this is the first frame that the projectile is spawned. That's really weird to read and hard to understand for my simple brain, but I hope you guys got that. When performing light attacks with a melee weapon, block and dodge inputs will now take priority over the next light attack in the chain. Yes, thank you. So when you're spamming stuff and then you want to block really quick, you're going to block. That's going to take priority. So that's a really good one too. This change is aimed at preventing accidental attack cues that leave the player vulnerable when they intended to defend. Absolutely. That's really good. Jumping off lower height objects will no longer trigger a fully committed land animation, probably the roll. This will allow you to keep your momentum as you move through a turn. Attributes, 300 focus attribute bonus. The mana regeneration from this attribute bonus will now trigger when the caster drops to 15 mana or less. Equip load. Equip load descriptions have been updated to include the amount of stamina consumed when dodging. Fix an issue where the strafe movement, or strafe, always been wondering about that. I think it's strafe. Movement speed would vary based on equip load. Okay. Bug fixes. Fix attack cancels not working in shallow water. Example, canceling one ability into another. Fix an issue that could cause some attack animations to play incorrectly when used while running. Fix an issue where players could get stuck while resting at a camp if they were encumbered. Fix an issue where player was able to clip through outcropping collision by using certain abilities while prone. You crazy little players trying to figure out all this stuff. You guys are nuts, man. Fix an issue that what could allow players to avoid some damage from AoE attacks while in the prone position. All right, so some bow changes. This ought to be interesting. Rain of Arrows. Fix an issue where Rain of Arrows could trigger backstabs. Fix an issue where the Rain of Arrows bleed duration was not able to be extended by perks and passives that extended bow and bleed effect durations. Evade Shot. Energizing Evade Shot, which is an item perk. Fix an issue where this perk was not triggering if any upgrades were unlocked for Evade Shot. Fix an issue that allowed Rain of Arrows, Penetrating Shot, and Poison Shot to be used while encumbered or in deep water. Fix an issue that allowed bow light attacks to be activated underwater. Fix an issue with bow hip firing that made the canceling windows different than when firing down sights. This fix normalizes the firing rate between hip firing and firing down sights. Fire Staff. So Fireball, they're probably buffed the crap out of the Fire Staff. Increase Fireball projectile radius from 0.01 to 0.33 to make it easier to hit with. Fireball can now critically hit. Oh, man. That's a big one. Reheat. Fix an issue where reheat could persist through weapon swaps and ability usage. Updated Flamethrower and Meteor Shower to trigger Reheat's 4-second timer when the ability exists or exits. Fix an issue that caused the flyout icon for Reheat to incorrectly show as Empower. Pillar of Fire. This was my wife's favorite attack out of all the different mage abilities. Reduce the delay between Pillar of Fire's activation and the spawning of its damage AoE. So that'll make it easier to hit. The fire pillar now spawns when the player finishes extending their staff forward. Reduce pillar of fire recovery by 14 frames. Flamethrower. This is the funniest looking ability I've ever seen. I really love the flamethrower. I just sit in town and just put it right in people's faces while they're AFK. Increased flamethrower's base movement speed so that the haste buffs have a more notable effect. The new move speed is approximately 2 times faster than the previous speed, so that's a pretty big change. Accelerating Flamethrower, which is an item perk. Fix an issue where the haste effect from the Accelerating Flamethrower perk was only triggering off of exactly 3 stacks and not 3 or more stacks. Let It Burn. Fix an issue where the burn status effects from Fireball, Burnout, and some passive abilities were not triggering the Let It Burn passive. And fix visual issues with some fire staffs. Not really sure what visual issues they had, but that's pretty cool. Great Axe. Swapping the placement of the Frustration passive and the Keen Edge passive. Ability points spent on Great Axe ability trees will be refunded and require a respec after this update. Gravity Well. Updated damage area to match Vortex visuals. Reduce Vortex pull force to allow players a chance to escape. Pulling force ends just before vortex damage occurs to allow players a chance to escape by dodging. Removed unintended damage from the initial pull and area effect of the vortex. Updated and clarified the description of this ability. Maelstrom. No reprieve. Fix an issue where the cancel window was set too early this upgrade, resulting in the ability being canceled out prior to the second spin on the attack. Enduring Strike. Reduce the damage reduction provided by this passive from 20% to 12%. Updated the tooltip to clarify that the damage reduction occurs while any grid is active and not just the grit provided by heavy attacks. Hatchet. Fix an issue where the accumulated power and on-fire passes were not consistently triggering with hatchets that had perks with alternative damage sources like dots, chain, elemental, etc. Ice Gauntlet. Ice spikes, spiky reach. Adjusted the projectiles fired from this upgrade to reduce the chance that a single target is hit with all four parts of the attack. Ice storm, fix an issue where if two different players had different amounts of modifiers and perks for the ice storm ability, they could stack the damage from it instead of it just being a single instance of damage. So this I want to talk about that. This was the same thing that was happening with the life staff. So what they're saying is, if you have three different people with life staffs and three different sacred grounds, and one person had like the first perk in sacred ground, one person had the second perk in sacred ground, and one person had like a fortifying sacred ground passive, those were considered different abilities, so they would all stack and you would receive the healing from all three of them instead of the last person to place it down. Well, they're doing the same thing with the ice storm. So, companies can't like strategically spec their ice gauntlet users where they all have different perks and different, passives so that they can stack all that stuff. So that's done. You're probably going to see a lot less damage from, the ice storms now, which is great. I think that they should stack. I think that the heals should stack. I think that the ice shower should stack. I mean, why do it that way? But now everybody's going to be on an even playing field. No more exploits, no more figuring out, how to do that. Punishing Storm, added clarification on the tooltip to state that it will only increase Ice Storm's damage. Ice Shower, fix a desync issue that could occur when players dodge through the Ice Shower. Fix an issue that could cause Ice Shower's route to fail when players dodge through it. Fix an issue where Ice Shower would not start its cooldown immediately when the first ice patch appeared. Ice Pylon, Pylon Burst, another item perk, increase AoE to 3 meter radius from 1 meter. Added new burst visual effects to show this new radius. Life Staff, so we've got the beacon. Speed of Light, fix an issue where the Speed of Light haste was not applying to the caster if their weapon was sheathed. Haste applied by Speed of Light will now apply to all targets within the AoE, not just allies who are healed. The tooltip has been updated to reflect this new functionality. So a lot of Musket changes. Sticky Bomb, fix an issue where Sticky Bomb's crit damage was not increased when the crit damage numbers would appear. Crits will now deal 273% weapon damage. Where the hell do they come up with that number? Reduce Sticky Bomb base damage from 235 weapon damage to 210 weapon damage. So Sticky Bomb's getting a nerf. Fix an issue where Sticky Bomb had broken and inconsistent transitions upon exiting the throw, depending on the action performed after the throw. This could cause a player to be locked out of their abilities until they moved or switched weapons. That would suck. Shooter's Stance. Fix an issue where firing too quickly after entering Shooter's Stance would not consume a shot, allowing players to bypass the 5-shot limit. Fix an issue where exiting Shooter's Stance would reset stacks of the heightened precision passive. Fix an issue which could allow players to bypass the animation for Shooter's Stance and fire from a standing position. Stopping Power. This ability has been reworked and no longer empowers your next shot, but instead fires a special bullet after a short warm-up time that knocks back your target if it hits. Stopping Power can be fired from aim down sights or hip fire. Stopping Power's hit reaction animation changed to better match the timing that the target is staggered. Ability description updated to reflect this new functionality. Cooldown increased from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. Powder Burn and Power Shot. Loaded shots can now be overwritten. Activating one of these abilities to load a shot while the other is already loaded will replace the previously loaded shot with the new shot. Fix an issue where loaded shots from these abilities were not counting towards the heightened precision passive stacking. Hustle. Fix an issue where this passive had a shorter duration than intended while the Back It Up passive was also active. Players can now use consumables while reloading. Using consumables in this way will interrupt reloading. Fix an issue that allowed Musket basic attacks to be activated underwater. Rapier, Flurry, updated ability description to clarify that Flurry can be canceled by other abilities as well as by dodging. Evade, fix an issue where sheathing the Rapier after triggering Evade would result in the player getting a persistent movement speed buff. Spear, so the sweep ability, Refreshing Reach. Fix an issue where Refreshing Reach would not trigger correctly with coup de grace, or coup de grace, but it's actually coup de grace. Javelin, fix an issue where swapping weapons while using Javelin could result in a bad animation state. We don't want that. Sword and Shield. Shield Rush. The hitbox of this ability has been moved closer to the player to prevent situations where the ability could hit targets that appear to be out of range. The distance traveled by the rush has been increased to compensate for this loss of range. Reverse Stab. Tactician. This upgrade will no longer reduce the cooldown of Reverse Stab. It will still reduce the cooldown of other sword abilities when triggered. Leaping Strike. The leaping and attacking portions of this ability now have separate properties for their homing and movement in order to improve the overall accuracy based on distance. Adjusted homing for better translation against distant targets. Adjusted homing for more accurate and consistent tracking against closer targets. Void Gauntlet. Mending Evasion. Fix an issue where this passive would reset your lowest active cooldown in addition to its listed effects. Warhammer. Armor Breaker. Fix an issue where players cannot buffer attack inputs from any of the Warhammer abilities into the Armor Breaker ability. Hardened Steel. Reduce the damage reduction provided by this passive from 20% to 12%. Updated the tooltip to clarify that the damage reduction occurs while any grit is active and not just the grit provided by heavy attacks. Empowering Armor Breaker, which is an item perk. Fix an issue where this perk was applying to all hits for 5 seconds, not just the initial hit. So here's some updates to perks. Weapon ability perks. Updates to perks for specific weapon abilities can be found in that weapon's update notes section. Chain perks. Fix an issue where chain perks could hit targets through obstacles, resulting in unintentional aggro of AI near the original target. Fix an issue where chain perks could appear on weapons they were not intended to appear on, such as shields. Evasive. Fix an issue that caused the flyout icon for the evasive perk to incorrectly show as discrete. Plentiful Shells and Plentiful Arrows. Fix an issue where the Plentiful Shells, Plentiful Arrows bag perk was not properly scaling its refund chance based on gear score. Fix an issue where the refund chance would not stack properly if you had multiple bugs with the same perk. Shirking Energy. Fix an issue which caused this perk to incorrectly activate in equipped loads other than light. Gathering Recovery. Fix an inconsistency with this perk being incorrectly referred to as Gathering Restoration in some tooltips. Keenly Jagged. Fix issue where the tooltip of the Keenly Jagged perk was showing the incorrect bleed duration. Aversion. Fix an issue where the elemental and physical aversion perks were not stacking properly. Slotted Gems. Fix an issue which could cause gem perks to show debug strings instead of their actual values. And fix an issue where the Harbinger Lifestaff of the Sage and Harbinger Firestaff of the Scholar staves had a perks for the opposite weapon on them. War and Invasion. Fix issue where the Void Destroyer could survive after both its eyes were destroyed. Fix issue where... Oh, so that's not supposed to have... Okay. Fix issue where Cleansing Elixir was removed, but not properly preventing the reapplication of debuffs during its duration. Players can now access the scoreboard while waiting for a respawn. And Outpost Rush. All right, so bugs. Fix an issue causing the Corrupted Legionnaire to have no stamina. Fix an issue causing the Corrupted Priest's Hounds to quickly appear skinnable upon death. Fix an issue causing the Outpost Rush fort barriers to show the name of objects the player had previously interacted with. Fix an incorrect description present on the Brute Summoning Stone. Fix an issue causing turrets to appear as if they were on fire after being rebuilt from the destroyed state. Fix an issue preventing the command post in Outpost Rush from properly showing up as a ghost. Fix an issue with the Outpost Rush map appearing misaligned. Tuning, so they reworked the Outpost Rush scoring, and this is great. Dealing damage now increases the player's score. Reduce the amount of points granted from killing players and AI. Visually change the nameplates of several Outpost Rush AI to better clarify their difficulty. The changes in nameplates do not mean there were tuning changes to those AI unless called out below. Increase the health of the Corrupted Priest by 10%. Increase the damage by the Corrupted Brute by 10%. Reduce the health of the Corrupted Brute by 13%. Summon Ghosts and Summon Bears now take 150% bonus damage from siege damage. Summoned Corrupted Brutes now take 200% bonus damage from siege damage. Increase the base damage of the Repeater by 20%. The Fire Dropper by 16%. Increase the benefit of having more friendly players on a controlled point. Each friendly player on an uncontested point now reduces the time it takes to capture the point by 3 seconds, was previously 1.5 seconds. On an uncontested point, this benefit maxes out at 10 players for a minimum capture time of 30 seconds. Reduce the length of Baroness Haynes' score lock from 3 minutes to 2.5 minutes. Replace the explosive barrel launchers on either side of Outpost Soul with ballista turrets. These cost 50 infused ore and 50 infused wood to build and will be great tools in taking down the defense of Outpost Soul. Adjusted the emplacement so they're more flush with the ground. Adjusted rewards granted from Outpost Rush, another big one. So Outpost Rush now rewards Umbral Shards on completion of a match. 100 shards for the winning team and 50 shards to the losing team. That's really good. Players must meet the minimum score threshold to be eligible for this reward. Outpost Rush now rewards faction tokens on completion of a match, so that's awesome. Players must meet the minimum score threshold to be eligible for this reward. Outpost Rush caches now reward 2 pieces of Outpost Rush specific armor and an Outpost Rush specific weapon. And there's an additional 15% chance for a 4th item, which would be a piece of Outpost Rush jewelry. So maybe resilience, I don't know. There's a 2.5% chance that the rolled Outpost Rush item is a named item, the same chance as exists today. Significantly increase the likelihood that the rewards in the Outpost Rush cache will increase the player's expertise. Outpost Rush gear now rolls off a fixed list of perks that are more ideal for PvP combat, which is really good. So this means that traits like Beast Ward won't be found on Outpost Rush gear. Thank God. Remove Beast Ward from Illusory Enigma and replace it with Keen. Please note that this change isn't retroactive and it will only apply to new Illusory Enigmas granted after the patch. So it's not going to be grandfathered in. If you have an Illusory Enigma, it's still going to be the same. And players can now access the scoreboard while waiting for a respawn, which is really nice. I hope they could do that in Invasions and Wars too. So we're almost done, guys. Just about done. So quests, notable fixes. Improvements to the 3rd fishing quest baited so that the baits are more easily caught and must be salvaged rather than just having the items in inventory. War Camp Loot PvP faction missions can now reset when fast traveling. Asking First Light faction representative about die will no longer block players from subsequent quests. Betaless headpiece item can now be properly looted to complete the quest. Evanscale Alligator's quest can now be completed without resetting. Optional Siren Tuning Orb now drops properly during the Long Live the Queen quest. Adjusted difficulty of the final enemy in Shivering Timbers. Map markers added to Ensuring the Investment Part 2. Paths Unseen. And the Queen is Dead. And token rewards updated for faction rank up quest. Now, they've made some changes to the professions too, so can't wait to read that. Leveling for Arcana, Armoring, Engineering, Furnishing, Jewel Crafting, and Weaponsmithing trade skills now require 10% less XP. So I think that's a good change. It kind of sucks for us that spent hundreds and thousands of gold on getting those up, but hey, it's a game. There's going to be updates. There's going to be changes. It is what it is. Rewards. Fix an issue preventing tier 5 family muskets from dropping. This also corrects an issue where lower tier family muskets were dropping at incorrect levels. Bartholomew at Thunder Harbor was dropping some level inappropriate gear. This has been fixed. And 2 missing housing items have been added to the potential loot drops: wooden side desk and rickety twig table. Crafting. Several tier 5 weapon schematics were incorrectly displaying legendary rarity, even though they crafted epic items. These schematics have been corrected to indicate epic rarity. Effective schematics are Voidforge Harbinger Longsword, Maker's Mark Hatchet, Stone Rend Warhammer, Eternal Dusk Great Axe, Needler Rapier, Inquisition Musket, Hidden Truth Spear, Veil Piercer Bow, Windstinger Lightstaff, Waning Crescent Firestaff, Frost Fairy's Gift Ice Gauntlet, and Empty Promise Void Gauntlet. Fishing. Employed new measures to reduce effectiveness of fishing bots. Is that it? Man, that's sad. Oh, we'll talk about that later. Man, poor fishers. This is why I don't fish, guys. This is why fishing is retarded. My wife fishes. She loves fishing. She loves getting a chest. I don't know why. It's just her thing. And I can't stand it. If I said this before, I'm going to say it again. If you want to play a game that has amazing, fun, satisfying, engaging, mechanic-wise, just everything, try out Red Dead Redemption 2. That fishing in that game is amazing. I wish they could take some notes. Hell, just copy their fishing at this point. And if nothing else, give us better rewards. Hopefully they've got an aptitude leveling fix right here and fishing isn't in it. I give up. All right, Endgame. Yellow Topaz no longer has a minimum drop time. Black gypsum minimum drop time has been reduced from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. Purple gypsum minimum drop time has been reduced from 120 seconds to 30 seconds. Aptitude leveling. So smelter crafting gear now drops from tier 3 aptitude boxes. Holy crap, I'm going to be cranking out some orichalcum tonight. That's cool. So smelter crafting gear is going to be here. Oh, that's not tonight. That's going to be, obviously, the patch. And drop of viscous azoth now drops from armor aptitude boxes. Notable bug fixes, UI, and notable fixes, and then we're done. So, some weapons dropping in the Lazarus Instrumentation Expedition were not salvaging into the correct tier of material. This has been fixed. They now salvage into tier 5 material. This was also the case for some crafted versions of these weapons. These have also been fixed. So, what materials are they talking about? Are they just talking about repair parts? I mean, I don't know. Forest Warden set previously salvaged into incorrect values for repair parts and coin, and also had incorrect repair parts costs. Okay, so it is just the repair parts and coin. The Forest Warden's armor pieces now salvage into the correct amounts and cost the correct amount of repair parts. Fix the description for the Shard of Crystallized Azoth perk item. It now correctly states that it provides the Divine perk. Fix an issue causing the Skinner trade skill armor set to filter into the incorrect armor weight on the trading post. It now correctly filters into medium armor. Ancient armor plates, ancient metallic thread, cold forged buckles were not earnable in game and are no longer incorrectly listed on the trading post. Remove several unused attribute mods from the trading post. Fixed an issue causing some items to display on the trading post even though they were not tradable. So yeah, that was annoying. Even more annoying if you're trying to buy your own thing and it's not letting you. If anybody remembers that, we won't talk about it. Previewing weapon skins from the store while in housing area will no longer cause player to use incorrect weapon animations afterwards. Fixed a visual issue with the Blighted Growth apparel set, the Golden Rage Coat apparel set, Swashbuckler apparel set, Studded Leather apparel set, and Saturnalian Skewer weapon skin. UX, UI, and social created a trade chat channel, which is pretty cool. Added a camp warning notification to alert player when out of range or low on health from their camp or no camp. A status of your camp displays in the banner when entering a point of interest. Players can now see both friendly and enemy progress towards the Brood at the Corrupted Portal and Outpost Rush. The crafting screen should no longer select the first recipe if you quickly select another recipe while it's opening. So here's some notable fixes, and then we are done. Players can no longer attempt to schedule their siege windows during a maintenance window. In Trading Post UI, the pop-up when canceling a buy order should now correctly show the refunded coin based on the unbought remaining quantity. Resolved an issue causing ancestral muskets to display without an icon. Resolved an issue after being disconnected due to bad connection and the client crashed on loading screen while taking part in an ongoing invasion. Resolved an issue where voiceover for Bursina Thornton was missing during the Friends and Fashion quest. Resolved an issue where weapon gear score adjustment information was not fully translated for all languages. Resolved an issue where Timeless Ring Shard and Timeless Amulet Shard icons did not match other resource icons. Resolved an issue where PvP indicator icon was appearing while at war and Outpost Rush. Resolved an issue where partnered Twitch accounts could see themselves in a sub-army listing. Resolved an issue where an objective failed banner shows a check mark instead of an X. Resolved some localization issues with the expertise tooltips on items. Added an item restrictions tooltip for housing items to convey limits on animated and lighting items. Added a purchase timer, which is the hourglass icon, in faction shop items when they have a cooldown between purchases. Added explanation of fishing hotspots as a conversation topic to fishing NPC. Also added a tooltip on the top right of the fishing skill details page of the trade skills tab. Rephrase housing loading screen tooltips to better describe the act of picking up your furniture and placing it into your settlement storage. Fix a typo on the archaeologist defender spear. And finally, address multiple grammar mistakes on quests and crafting stations, but not on PTR release notes. Oh, they forgot to add that. So anyway, that's it, guys. Sorry it took so long. I do like to go through this so that you guys can hear it clearly, understand it. Maybe when you're driving home, want to check out the updates. So that's what this is for. be ready for some new updates. And, you know, just on a couple other things, or at least the loot luck. Loot luck still hasn't been answered. Pretty much given up on that. I don't think it's ever going to be. And I was really hoping that it might make it into some of this stuff, but apparently not. So that sucks. And that's all I've got for you guys. Hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see you guys in a tournament. Take it easy, everybody.